Welcome, adventurers, to Critical Beginnings. Today's episode, The First Adventure. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to have a look at what happens in our very first adventure. So you've made your character, you've got everything together, you're sat down at the table. There's a few decisions to be made before you start. Firstly, if you haven't already, can you describe your character? Now, that may not sound like a big deal, but pretty soon into the adventure, the DM is going to ask you to describe your character so that everyone else in the party knows what you look like. Having an idea of what you're wearing, what weapons you're carrying, even your skin colour, eye colour, hair colour can all help in creating an idea of how your character might look. The second, and in some cases it can be a bit embarrassing, especially when you're starting off, is how is your character going to talk? Will you talk in the first person or the third person? Will you use their voice and mannerisms, or will you use your own? Will you find a hybrid approach? So, for example, if you're playing an old wizened wizard, maybe when you go to the bar, you might walk to the bar and ask, "May I please have a glass of wine, young man?" And that's fine. Or maybe you'll say, "My character hobbles over to the bar and asks for a glass of wine." Doesn't matter, it's up to you. As a DM, I like to play all the characters. I like to have different voices, sometimes different mannerisms if it's appropriate, just to create that sense of immersion. Let's try it then. You know what you look like, you know how you're going to represent your character, and the adventure starts. This adventure begins in the sleepy little town of Carlton upon Ayrshire, more of a village really. As you've followed the canal along from the great forest, you've eventually made your way to this tiny little farming village and, seeing lights in the distance, find your way to the Red Dragon Tavern. A bustling place, mostly full of farmers and the odd grizzled adventurer. Behind the bar, you see the gigantic looming figure of a half-orc.
"Welcome," he says to you. "You're very welcome. Me Gulrock. You come in, you sit down. This my place."
What do you do? Now, presumably you'll go in and sit down. Maybe you'll ask for a drink and the barmaid will deliver one. Okay, let's carry on this adventure. So, says the DM, you're sat down and behind you hear a strange noise. Sounds like somebody speaking, but you don't really know what's going on. Make an intelligence check. Okay, it's our first check. What do we do? Well, you're going to need a D20. That's the first thing. Secondly, you're going to need to know what your intelligence modifier is. If you look at your character sheet, you'll see it. In this case, I'm going to say mine is +2. So I'm going to roll my dice, convenient table off screen, and it's a 10. I look at my intelligence modifier, which is +2. 12, I say to the DM. Now the DM knows how difficult this is, so they have a little look, they work out whether you've got above the difficulty or below it, and it turns out that you passed. They say. It sounds alien, draconic maybe, but you're not sure. Can you speak draconic? You look at your languages now. Have you got draconic on there? Now, if you're a dragonborn, yeah, you absolutely have, but most likely you don't. Common, dwarven, elven tend to be the big three. No, you say, I don't speak draconic. In that case, says the DM, make an insight check. Ooh, insight. That's your ability to determine somebody's motive or intention. So again, you need your D20, we roll it, and this time I got a 16, and I've got an insight modifier of +3, so 19, I say to the DM. That's got to be a pass, and it is. You get a feeling that the person behind you isn't happy, says the DM. In fact, they sound quite angry. Might be that a fight's about to break out. Okay. Now at this point you can choose what to do. Maybe you spin in your chair, maybe you just hunker down over your pint. You hear a crash behind you, says the DM. You spin round. There, standing behind you, is a dragonborn, maybe 6'6" tall, a large sword in his hand. Roll initiative, says the DM. Okay, you know what we need? Back to our D20, which we roll, and this time I got a 3, not ideal. I add my initiative modifier, and my grand total is 7. I tell the DM, and the DM writes down the order we're going to go in. The party do the same, and the DM will do it for the bad guy and maybe some of the other people in the tavern. Now, as it happens, you are first. Good rolling? No. Everyone else unlucky? Yes. Also, this is an example, so it really helps. What do you want to do? Generally in combat, you get 2 things. You get your action, you get your move. And there are a few other complications around here, but for now, action and move. Also, there's something called a free action, so drawing your weapon, free action. Dropping a weapon, free action. Yelling, get down, free action. Let's decide that we want to spin, raise our sword, and attack. So, spin, yeah. Action, attack. Right, says the DM. Make an attack roll. Ooh, 19. Good hit. We add the weapon modifier on our character sheet. So we look across, we see we've got a short sword. We see our attack bonus is +5. 19 and 5, 24. It's a hit, says the DM. Roll some damage. Now at this point, we're going to need some damage dice. It depends, of course, on what we're using. And we're using a short sword, which needs a d6. So I'm going to roll my d6. Ooh, a 6. Plus, there'll be a damage modifier next to it. If you look at your character sheet, it'll say d6 plus, in my case, 3. 9 points of damage, you say. Excellent, says the DM. You swing your sword across, catching the Dragonborn in its chest and gouging a big line across it. Black blood oozes forth, but it's not down. It swings its sword back at you in defiance. What's your armour class? Now, your DM may have asked you this before the game, so they know, or they might need it right now. Look down your character sheet, find your armour class. 14, you say. The DM rolls. It's an 18. You don't know this. He hits you, he replies. A large blow from the sword catches you off guard. Uh-oh, it's a long sword. That one's a D8. Take 3 points of damage, the DM says. Okay, find your hit points, find the current, cross it out or rub it out, and reduce it by 3. Now at this point you're not dead, and the battle continues. That's it. If you're asked for a roll, add the modifier. If it's a skill, the modifier will be a bit higher. If it's a main stat, it might be a bit lower. Occasionally you'll be asked for a saving throw. Same principle. These should be on your character sheet. Roll, add the modifier, tell the DM. If you want to attack, roll, add the attack modifier, tell the DM, and they'll tell you if they need anything else. I think we'll leave it there for today. Hopefully this has been some help, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Farewell, adventurers.